All right, so have you wanted to know how to properly paint a belt? I'm going to show you some really easy tricks where you can like start painting belts from your imagination, where you don't even have to use references. And the reason why I find this so useful is, especially if you use AI techniques like I do a lot, you'll find that AI just doesn't do belts well. So I find myself having to go and repaint a bunch of belts and belt buckles. But I'm going to show you from scratch without using AI at all how to paint a belt using Clip Studio Paint. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to lay out the belt. I'm going to show you two different kinds of belts. They're the main types of belts you'll see. So the first thing is I'm just going to put in layers. Say you already have whatever, you know, drawing, painting you're working on, and you want to add a belt. So first thing is make a new layer, and we're going to lay out the belt here. I'm going to just use a kind of tan color to make it easy to see and follow along with. And so the belt is going to fit, within these belt buckles right here, like this. And depending on the kind of angle, you might see some of the top of the belt or you might not. And sometimes what I do is I'm just going to draw the entire thing like this, all the way to the edge. Make sure it extends out because it's going to extend out a little bit like that. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw the whole thing right through the buckles. Like that. And let's go ahead and fix this slide. Fill it in with a paint bucket, and then I'm going to use the eraser. Actually, I'm not going to do that yet. I'm not going to erase these two things until after I have the whole thing done the way I want it. Then when I click this icon right here, the lock transparency, that way we only are going to paint on what is in the transparency here. Actually, I just noticed that it didn't fill that in all the way. So let's go ahead and undo that. And I think if you like click this more to close the gap, okay. Or maybe that's not what does it. I thought that's what did it. Maybe come all the way down. Okay, that's not making a difference. Tolerance maybe. That's weird. All right, I don't think it used to be like this before, but now you have to turn the tolerance up and turn off anti-aliasing, and then bam, you'll get rid of that. For the most part, at least. Cool. Now we're going to lock the transparencies. And then you want to think about the lighting and how the lighting's kind of hitting the belt, right? So I'm going to use this brush here, which is it's really just this brush, but I turned off the pressure sensitivity on it, which you just go here to click it off or on. If you notice that, if you go to this brush here, click that gear icon with a wrench, you'll notice that that's selected. I just unselect that. That way it's not pressure sensitivity is not on. Make it a little bit warmer and come down here like this. And we're just going to add a little bit of shadow like this and this on the edges, just to add some, nice look to it, right? Now I'm also going to think about this overall, look of it. I'm going to kind of just, typically belts will have a kind of darker feel all around the center part here like that. I'm just going to kind of paint that all the way across like this. Something like that. Another thing is you want to take it and take some nice gray tones, so nice cooler tones, because leather is never, or pretty much any material is never just one color. I'm going to go all the way to cool blue here and add just a little bit, very, very light pressure. And this is just going to add and kind of help it because it's on the jeans there. Just add some different colors. You can add some purple and stuff like that too if you want to. You can add some texture if you wanted to, using the gouache. So you can like take like this, make it a little bit brighter. Let's say it's going to be like, I don't know, like that's where the main light's going to be hitting it. And we have a little bit of texture. Okay. You can also use, crayon, for example, to add a little bit of texture to it. Like that. Doesn't really matter. Take this kind of darker color. Okay, a little bit of texture. Right, so from here now I can, I can go and I can delete part of it if I wanted to. Or I can just leave it like this until I'm all the way done and then delete. But I'm going to go like that. I'm just going to carefully erase so that it's going underneath the belt buckles. Like that. Okay, bam. Now we got a belt. Now this part I'm going to do on another layer. I typically don't because I'm just so used to doing it, but we'll just go ahead and do another layer. We're going to add a belt buckle. Let's just add a kind of a goldish belt buckle. We're going to start with this kind of really desaturated kind of color first. I want to make sure it's kind of visible though. Maybe something like that. Now there's two different kinds of belts like I said. So one is where you can see both sides of the belt buckle. The other kind is where you can only see one side, where it's kind of like behind and it comes like this, right? Because this part is underneath, like it's going in between the belt, like the belt's wrapping around it, whatever. But from the front view, it just looks like that, right? That's one type. The other type is where it's like this, so you can see both sides of it, like that. And it's going to stand on top and the bottom of the belt, right? So that's going to line up with the edge of the belt. And I'm just saying, it usually has this kind of shape to it where it's kind of more straight like this, and then has this kind of shape, rounded shape like that. This is more square than you would see. It's usually a little more rectangle than that. Not a big deal. We can actually just quickly change this. Just kind of grab this and move it a little bit like that. Boom. And then we're going to go ahead and just fill that in. Right, something like that. Got a little sloppy there. I'm trying to be fast, so that's why it's got a little bit sloppy, whatever. Doesn't matter. Something like that. Right, once you have that shape, then again, you want to lock the transparency icon again, make it easy to kind of do what you need to do to it. And we're going to add some different colors to this. So the first thing, we're going to add a little bit more like this, maybe. Is it not? Okay, there we go. Wrong brush. We're going to add just a little bit to the top here, maybe like that. And then maybe even go a little bit more yellow, more white. Just add a little bit of shine, just so we have a kind of like some gradient to it, you know? I'm going to go even darker here. We're going to kind of add this to the edges like this. And also to this bottom part. And maybe we'll add it to this underside right here. Like that. Okay, that just gives us a nice kind of just metallic look, which is cool. And then I'm going to take the black here, and I'm leaving the transparency on because I don't want to go outside this shape. I want to keep this shape here. I'm just going to kind of go around the edges. Now normally you wouldn't do this if it's just a painting style, but this is kind of a comic-y slash painter style, you know. So now we got that. And you can think about different, if you want to maybe take this and go really dark with it, something like this, for example, use the hard brush. You can add some, you know, nice metallic-y and more as a shiny metal there to it. And then you can also take a really brighter color and really kind of, boom, hit some highlights. Anywhere there's like a corner, like an edge, something like that. Take the same default color here, and then this is where we can add more to it, right? So let's go ahead and take this black color, and it's usually going to be right about here that the hole is. So add that hole there, and then every so often add another hole. Just keep that consistent across the belt here, something like that, let's say. And this part here is going to come, and we're going to have the edge of the belt coming around over here like this. And you might want to add maybe one more hole there. Sometimes there's one more hole at the end, and then maybe add another hole over here. Now, you can leave the holes just dark like that. That's actually fine. But if you want to add a little more spinazzle to it, that's not a word, but now it is. You can just take something like this and just do a slight highlight on the inside. And this would just go wherever the light is hitting. So let's think about the opposite way. So in this case, the light's coming from this direction. So it's not going to hit this top part, right? It's going to hit the underside. Think of it as a hole, right? That's how holes work. It's going to hit the inside of the hole, not the other side. Does that make sense? Like if you have if you're trying to make something look like a dent, then the highlight isn't going to be like this, right? So let's say you have, all right, quick side note here. You have this thing like this, right? If the light's coming from this direction, then it's just going to hit right here because this is a mound. It's coming out. But if this was an indent, right, if we have something that's indented, this is an indent into something, the light's not going to be on this side. The light is going to hit all this inside here, that whatever shape the dent is, right? It's going to hit the inside of the bowl. Let's say this is the bowl, like that. That's where the light's going to hit. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So with that in mind, that's why we're putting all this on the inside like that. Anyway, like I said, it's unnecessary unless you just like crazy detail for some reason, or it's to be the centerpiece, whatever. Anyway, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take this kind of, some of these neutral colors in here, and I don't know what this is called, but this comes out of the hole, and it usually goes flush right here against the edge like that, or even might stop a little bit before the edge. What I'd usually do then is I just take my hard color, because especially if it's doing a painting, then I take more of a painterly color, but if not, I just take my line color, which is black here. Add a little bit of a highlight, boom, like that. Maybe take this color, go redder and darker. Maybe darker. Just add a little bit, something like that. And now we got a cool belt. Ta-da! Now, how do I make this a little bit different? I'm going to show you a couple more tricks you can do too also. And that is, it's so simple. Watch this. You just simply delete this part of the belt. Right, now you got this other kind of belt, where you just see that part, and you can do different shapes and stuff like that. I might want to, I feel like this just cuts off too much right here, so I'm going to come up there like that. And you might even want to have like a part of this highlight right here just kind of hits right there a little bit. Bam. Now, one other thing you might see, especially if the angle's kind of such that you can kind of see the top of the belt just a little bit, you might see this kind of, it's usually going to be a darker with a rim light. Where the edge hits, right? So remember, a belt has a three-dimensional shape. It has this part right here that then comes out like this, right? And then comes down, right? So if you think about a belt has a thickness. And for that thickness, I'm just going to take the default color, maybe make it a little bit oranger, and come down, make it darker. And we just want to run right along the edge like this. And I'm just going to push hard with my ink brush and just add an edge. If you want this to be perfect, you're a stickler for perfection, then use the other ink brush, this one up here, the G pen, and put smoothing on, or just add smoothing on to this one, or stabilization. Put stabilization all the way up. That really helps. That right there. And then all you want to do is you want to just add a slight edge. And honestly, you don't want a super hard edge. I mean, I guess if it's kind of comic-y, it's fine. But using something like this is going to be really good. And then you just want to add a much brighter tone there. And just add a slight edge right here like that. This is where the edge is being hit, just very, very, not too much. Don't overdo it. Like that, maybe. Yeah, it's mainly going to be, mostly on that middle, because that's where the light's hitting the most. But I just want to kind of show this edge just a little bit, very lightly over here like that. And now we have some three-dimensionality to our belt. And then right here, you might want to have it be brighter. Like that. Just kind of hitting it a little bit hard and then lighter as it go out, because that's where the light's hitting the most. And if you want to really spice it up right there, go really bright right here, and just add this little bit right here, like that. Boom. Right, so now we have our belt, and that's it. That's how to paint belts. It's really not that difficult. Now, then if you run this back through AI and tell this is a belt, especially if you use like Flux, and say, hey, this is a belt, and just select this area, it's going to take all that and make it look even extra nice. You might have to paint over some of it again. If you use Flux, you probably don't. If you use something else, you probably will. In fact, let's just go ahead and show you that. So anyway, at this point here, you don't care about AI at all. I understand. I respect that. Some people are just really anti-AI, which is unfortunately for you guys, because you're going to get left in the dust, let me tell you, in everything in life, right? Because AI is going to make everything faster. The kind of things that we're going to be doing with AI are going to be amazing. And the kind of thing, not just the kind of things we can do, but how fast we can accomplish them is going to be insane. I don't like that, so I'm going to go ahead and, in fact, make this faster. Let's just use the ink brush. I can still add maybe a little bit of that shape, right? Maybe add a little bit of that knuckle shape, but take away from this. I'm going to come out a little bit like that. Come out like that. There we go. That looks better, I think, than having all those lines. I don't like knuckle lines. I think they look ugly on guys as well, so I usually never use them. Something like that. Even here, I don't like it. Like maybe just a little bit, but I would kind of break some of that up. I don't want lines going all the way through like that. Kind of break the lines up a little bit like that. Same with this here, actually. I don't like that line at all. Dang it. Tap that color. There we go. All right. For those that just absolutely hate AI, well, just don't watch this part. You know, why make yourself get all mad for no reason? Like, you shouldn't care that I use AI. Why does it matter? What I just showed you was no AI, right? And it works. Anyway, so then we're going to take her, we're just going to drag and drop her as she is, literally. She's already at the resolution I want. We're just going to drag and drop her right in here. Bam. And we're going to take this here. I don't know why it put a mark there. Okay. Grab this, go to layers, click on the end paint. I could also change the size of the brush here, just because I really just want to do just that part right there. And we'll just leave it like this and see what happens. And I have it on organic sauce, flux dev. Make sure this is up high, it's at 0.65, which is fine. Could probably even go to 0.7, whatever. Now I'm going to show you the difference between like how flux dev and also notice the resolution I'm at. I'm at like about a 2000 pixel high resolution, or maybe it's even a little bit bigger than that. You want to be at a decent resolution, otherwise it might not look right. Might mess the belt up a lot. But for flux dev, actually, even the resolution was lower. But see how it messed up a lot of what I had going on there. It is trying to match it to the same style, I guess. But let's go ahead and turn this down some. Maybe turn down to 0.45. Flux dev is usually not as sensitive as other models. Right, and see as I turn it down there, that looks pretty cool. And honestly, it didn't really change it too much, honestly. So that's kind of cool. But anyway, if you like did it and it made a belt and it's almost right, well, this is like teaches you like, oh, okay, that belt's almost right. I can just go and do these couple little changes and fix it, and bam, now I have the belt like I want it to be, which is pretty cool. Right, but what happens if we use a different model altogether? Like, let's use a pony model, and I'm just going to leave it at default. And we're going to turn this down some more because otherwise it's going to try to change it too much, like 0.35. And as you can see, this is even worse than what I already had, right? So this is even worse. And this is often how like belts will end up looking, when you get them from AI. And it's often even worse than this. And so, but this is the idea is there. So if AI produced something like this, you can use what I just taught you, come back here and just, paint over some of this really fast and just kind of reinforce what I just showed you. And it's like, bam, now I got the belt buckle looking the way I want it to look, and everything's looking good. And so, so it's a quick way to fix up, and you want to I usually just delete the holes and just redo them real fast, because usually it's just so bad you just want to just redo them real quick. Or just do no holes at all, that's fine too. It's like not a detail that needs to be there. So just to give an example using this prompt here, what is something like Pony going to give us? And that's the wrong dimension. Let's go to 12, something about like this. And this is around the resolution you want to be at with this model. Already it's giving me something that's not even artistic. It's not even listening to my painting part, it looks like. That happens sometimes. Also, this usually forces more of an artistic look too. So I don't know what's going on there. Let's say female in jeans with belts like that. I guess that's kind of painterly. I guess it's kind of doing some. Let me go ahead and choose my graphic novel. See if it kind of forces the ink lines more. As you can see at this resolution, it's really going to mess the belt up. If you do flux dev, it does a better job, and sometimes it does a perfect job. You don't even have to do anything to the belt. So that looks kind of cool. Let's say I like this image, but I don't like the belt. Let's go ahead and first off, let's make this bigger. So I'm just going to double it in size. And then we're going to drag and drop this over here as a new raster layer. Pull this down here. I don't need to be tall. And we're going to see if it fixes the belly button too. Like that. Make sure it's on green. All right, cool. Kind of wants to give it a belly ring or something. Looks ugly. We can just paint that out real fast and fix it. Or you can even just go to Flux Dev and have it fix it for you real fast by just swapping over. And just let me show what happens if you swap over to Flux Dev, how it might fix this belt for us. Let's go ahead and pump this all the way up to like 0.7. I'm just going to leave it. It usually matches the style that's there, so let's just go and do that. So as far as the belt goes, it's giving us something far cooler than what we had before, but I don't know, it's like it's because the metal was there, so it's trying to put all these metal studs in there, and that's just not how a belt works. There might be some belts that have that, but they need holes here still for the pin to fit through. But overall, this belt buckle looks a lot better, and we don't have to do as much work to it if we wanted to turn this now into a belt. But let's say you don't have Flux Dev, or your computer's just not fast enough for it, and you're just using something like I was using here. We can then take and save this. And then come here and let's download this. All right, and I called her Jeans Girl. Let's go ahead and open her. I have to pause when I do that because I have some not safe for work stuff. You know, to do a belly button is usually pretty easy. You just kind of make it dark like this, and then you can kind of take the light color, kind of work into it a little bit, and then just make all that like this. Kind of take this lighter color, come all the way around. Kind of fade that out a little bit. That's a pretty big belly button, but that's the shape you want anyway. Actually, it might not be too big. Nah, it's a little too big. No big deal. Just take it like this. Boom. Make it the size that we want it. Put it where we need it. Make sure it's in the middle of the love handles. Also, notice it made her torso quite long. That's something we can fix though. Righto. So this needs a lot of work, as you can see, but you can, come in here and paint some of this. We don't need that there. Don't need that there. That wouldn't be there either. There might be a pin on the inside, but not right there. There might be one right there as well, but I'm just gonna get rid of it. There would be a pin there, and there might, like I said, sometimes there's a pin here. Whatever, just kind of something like that. This is gonna come all the way up to the top. Something like that. You can kind of see it has that, it's kind of doing a top part of the belt there. And a lot of this here, I like taking the colors already there and just kind of keep grabbing different colors next to what you're doing and just kind of get rid of some of this. But I like the colors that it uses. Like oftentimes AI is really good at picking colors. So you can literally just grab the colors that are right next to where you want to paint and use those colors because they're really going to be a good transition. Let's kind of blend some of that in together. Something like that. Kind of blend some of this together like this. Right, there we go. We got a nice cool look there. I like the colors it has for this. It's just, the overall. I'm going to add a little bit of that there. Let's kind of smooth this out to where it's more like this. Just kind of change the shape a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of this drop shadow here. And I can probably just use my ink brush here. There we go. And I kind of want to add just a little bit of the hard edge, like right there. Maybe it comes across right here, like that. Wrong pin. I don't know why it changed. Right, bam, now we got a nice belt buckle going on. Looks cool. I think I might get rid of that. It doesn't look good from a distance. Okay, and then we just do like we did before. Just let's go and add our holes here. Pull our pin out like this. Boom. Make a little drop shadow like that. That looks kind of flat, but that's why we add this onto it like that. Boom. That's usually all you have to do. From a distance, that looks fine. It's going to print out fine. But if you want, you could add a couple other colors in there. Nice. And now all we got to do is add a couple more holes. Let's say the other hole was like right there. We can't see it. The other hole would be like right about here, right about there. The other hole would be right about here, 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 something like that. I think that looks cool by itself. Like I said, if you really want to, you can take a slightly lighter color and just hit the inside of it like that, right? But I just think this is unnecessary. I just realized like some of you guys might be really bothered by how thin my lines are getting, even though look how big my marker, like look how big that is, like how big I can make it. And it's just awesome to be able to have that kind of pressure control. And then we also want to fix this right here. Okay, I don't know why it's not grabbing the right colors. This is one thing I've noticed with this new pen is it seems that I have to like be more careful. Come on. I got to just like tap the color and let go of it. Otherwise it doesn't want to give me the color I want. It's a little bit different than how my old pen worked. So it's not a big deal. It's just something I think I have to get used to. Also, I don't like how much far up those pants go. Like the pants shouldn't go up that high compared to the belt. So either make the belt thicker and then make the belt buckle bigger. But an easy way to fix this is how I would do it right now, just to make this fast, is I'm just going to come in here, take the main skin color that we're going to be doing here. I'm just sampling colors as I go down, as you can see. Something like that. That's a little bit better. And then I'm just going to take this brush here, maybe make it a little bit smaller, and literally just kind of blend some of this together. Just a couple, usually just a couple fast strokes is all you need. Like that, just to kind of blend it together the way I want it to be. And that looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to take a hard edge here and go right over it like that. You could use a lighter color if you wanted, because the top of the pants would probably be a lighter color. But if it's more of an ink style, you want to do black. But if you wanted to, you can take this lighter color and hit it like that. Now we're going to have this whole top plane of the pants. Right, that's like the edge, the seam you can kind of see. And just go really thin. Like this. I'm doing this very fast. You would want to take your time with this more. It's like a speed painting. So now you have that depth to the pant. So maybe right here, that's a little bit too thick. So let's kind of bring it back a little bit. Like that. I know what it's trying to do there, but it kind of looks goofy, so let's just kind of fix that. So I don't know if I like that, but it's fine. Another thing I can show you too is how to do ripped up jeans really fast. Since we're on this, I'll show you how to fix that up. So typically, you might have a couple little strands like that, and you kind of show the white strands coming, and you might want to just do a couple strands coming across like this, where you can come, you can sometimes see, and then add a little color like that, a little color like this, and then just add a couple. Basically, I want to take the white and then take the color of the jeans and kind of just go across with some thin lines like that, like this. And then you can just kind of add a little bit of frills on the ends, and you can also even add some white frills like this. And that's really all you have to do, and that's enough to add a lot more extra detail that looks really nice. Other times, actually, all you're going to see is just the white lines going across. In fact, that's usually all you're ever going to see. So what you want to do then is just, let's grab her like her main skin tone, which is here. Let's go ahead and just paint that main skin tone into this hole like that. Maybe even add a little bit of, warmer color there and there or something. I don't know, fade it, whatever. A lot of that we're not going to see. Then you want to take this lighter color. It's not going to be white, like something like this. And then we're going to go ahead and add a bunch of strands that are overlapping and coming across here. Something like that right there. You might have a little bit of this edge that's all filled up like this. And that's why I usually take a shadow color first, paint the shadow color here first, and then take that lighter color. And we're just kind of making the frill, whatever, and just kind of add a couple little strands, whatever. Something like that, maybe, maybe all messed up looking. And then now you have a nice realistic looking hole. The same thing here, just do the kind of same thing. So what I do is I just grab a darker color here, like something like this, kind of a shadow color, come all the way around here, like this. That's where the hole is. And then take that skin tone, really kind of bring it in there. Wada wada bing. Now if you want, you don't want it to look too sharp, right? You can go like this and just take this brush here, take this color, notice it's not exactly white, and just lightly come across here like this with a bunch of lines. And this doesn't give it more of a painterly look, so that way you don't have, a bunch of those really sharp lines, something like that. Then around the edge here, just kind of come like this. Just kind of go around the edge and kind of press hard and kind of just squiggle around a lot and make little shapes, almost like the edges of a bush or something like that. That's where you start with. And then you want to just kind of add a couple little, like this. That's all wrong. AI had the right idea, but some of these details, especially if you're going to want to sell your artwork and print it and stuff, you want to make sure it looks nice. Like, you wouldn't want to just give them something like that. That's lame. You might be able to take that into, in fact, let's test them. I'm kind of curious if Flux will fix that for us without us having to do much work. You can save a lot of time. It's all about saving time. It's about making as much money as you can with the least amount of time. Or it's about having fun. But if it's about making money, then no. You have to do that with each one of these. But you see, that looks so much cooler, and that's going to print out looking really nice. Now you have something that looks more like realistic. And sometimes you'll even have more than that, even, right? So you'll have even more white than that sticking. I'm going to use that same color. You might have a bunch like that where you can see a bunch of these threads that are overlapping. And then maybe you'll just see a few, some like this. Just add a few hard edges here and there like that. Plugging. Right, that has a lot of texture to it. It's going to look really nice printed out. Okay. Let's take this back in. I'm just going to save it. It should just save. Cool. Let's go ahead and close that. Did all this work to her. I kind of want to finish it out and post it. Her torso looks like it might be a little bit too long. From there to there seems a little bit too long for her head. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm thinking it needs to be like this much shorter. And that's not too big of a deal. You could just like squish it. Yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna do that all right now, but let's go ahead and bring this into our canvas. We're at a decent resolution, so we come down here, grab this, boom. And then I'm thinking we could just tell it, tore up jeans. In fact, I'm gonna see what it does with the one I painted too. Get rid of all that and just say torn jeans. That should be enough. Flux dev, everything else is fine. See what happens. I mean, it definitely gave us a better base to work with. So if you look at before and after, that's a much better base to work with. I'm actually curious because it is a high resolution now. So let's see what happens at a higher resolution with this regular pony one on here. Let's see what happens. And see, that's not nearly as nice. Like, I even took the one that I had already painted, made it look really nice, and just goofed it up. So yeah, if you're going to use pony, it looks like you're going to have to do with jeans. You're going to definitely want to go and do some painting. You're going to want to do some painting even with flux. Nice. I actually use it to fix up the pants and stuff too real fast for hands. This is almost passable. Like if this were, I don't know, that is just about passable. That's gonna look really nice printed out. In fact, maybe just a little bit of work on it and we're good to go. I would maybe, if this were zoomed out more, to where it's not like a hat, like a cowboy shot or hat, wherever this would be called. If it were like a more of a full body shot where you can see your feet and everything, this would be such a smaller part of the image that would be fine. I would just leave it. I don't even bother with it. But because it's more zoomed in, and that's gonna be bigger when printed and bigger when seen as an image online, like you're gonna be looking at the whole thing, that's gonna be not as nice. So we can fix that. But overall, this was a pretty cool image, and I'm gonna show you a really quick trick in Photoshop how to make her so where she's not so elongated like this. Let's go ahead and save her out like that. Get rid of this. Go back here. Images. Click this. Click here, click the download icon. Right, so once we're at Photoshop, all we have to do here is grab this tool right here. So click on this tool. This is the object select tool. You see it's at the top here. You literally just hover over the object and it should give you a good view of it. And it should give you a pretty good cutout of what you want. Like everything should be pretty good. Sometimes you have to make a little bit of adjustments. You just hit Control C and then V to copy and paste that. See what all it did. So you can see like how good it did. You can go in and erase some of the stuff you don't like. And then all we have to do is go, okay, let's make this smaller. So let's go ahead and go like this. What I'm probably going to do is just select like this here, maybe somewhere right about here. Make sure get all that into selection. And then I also want to make sure I get her other arm in selection here. Something like this. And then we're going to take that and we're going to pull it down. Okay, that didn't work. Hold on a second. What did I do wrong? Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm debating whether or not I even want the arms. I think I might want to make the arms shorter. Yeah, the forearms I think should be shorter anyway. So let's just go like that. All right, then grab this up here, the move tool, and let's go ahead. Why is it not? Okay, I don't know why. That should be working. I don't get why it's not. I'm just going to copy and paste it again. I don't know why that wasn't working, but whatever. So let's decide how far down I want to go here. So maybe something like about like here. I'm thinking okay, let's zoom in some more so I get some more control over this. Something about there, I think. And then I'm going to erase a lot of what's under here. Because a lot of that we don't need. Well, none of that we need, actually. I should have said a lot of her we don't need. And then what I want to do, though, is on this layer here, I want to just get rid of some of this right here and kind of bring some of that shirt back. And then this is where you'd use AI to kind of, bring it to where it all kind of works. I'll show you how to do that if you want. If you want to stick with me here. I like that part is kind of covering her arm maybe, but some of her arm should be there. And then we got to just fix up some of that. Maybe I can get rid of some of this right here. Cool. So all that looks pretty good. That should be underneath, right? Yeah. So let's go ahead and just get rid of some of. That's too much. I'll have to. Just want to get rid of some of that right there. Good. And let's go ahead and merge these together. So layer, point of merge visible. Bring this background back. Now watch this. You take the background, you take the remove tool, which is going to be here, and just paint all the way around the character you want to remove. And it usually does a pretty good job. Enough to where you don't have to worry about doing like painting and stuff. Yep, like I said, that's a pretty damn good job. And then bam. And all we have to do now is just have to paint her arm into here and then fix up some of this and then put her back to AI one more time just to kind of fix up some of that middle pieces. It should be good. We can actually just get away with painting the rest of this and it'd be fine actually. So let's go ahead and save this as a Photoshop file. I don't like painting in Photoshop anymore. I don't know, sometimes it's okay. We'll just save that as Jeans Girl. Okay, go ahead and close this out. Right now we're back in here and check this out. We can just take our ink brush here, boom, go like that. Bring this back, bring that to like this. Let's just add some dark outline all right here. Boom, that looks good. Bring this all the way down like that. Get rid of some of this that doesn't need to be there. And get rid of some of this that doesn't need to be there either. Looking sick, looking tight. We'll get rid of all of that right there. And debating whether I want all of this. Maybe just make that shorter. Well, let's go ahead and bring some of our arm here. Like that. Boom. Take this color. Right, so let's go ahead and add the arm in here. I'm thinking we're going to see that much of the arm there. Goes back in space like this and then comes up like this. That's about how much we're going to see it. Matter of fact, to make this easier, I'm just going to make a layer behind here. Because then I don't have to worry about avoiding anything. Something like that. Just add maybe a little bit of detail to the arm like that. Like where you might be able to see just part of the bicep. Usually when you have shadows though in a more artistic, style like this, it's like a painterly slash, comic style. You usually don't need to have anything in the shadows. Shadows can just be shadows without detail. Also, I don't like this background. The blue on blue just doesn't look good. So I'm just going to kind of get rid of that like this. Get rid of all that as well. That's something Photoshop added anyway. And some of this background I might actually use Flux Dev. That's what I usually do anyway if I want to be keeping a piece, is I'll do the background in Flux Dev when it's smaller, and then when you blow it up it looks really nice. Look at this, a lot of these details are messed up. And this will be fixed once we just put the, we can probably don't have to do this. You can probably literally just put it, but just in case, like that. And then we just put the, at this resolution, when we put the thing over it, it's going to look nice. Put the AI over it is what I meant to say. And then now we're going to add some cool line work there. This is too detailed for, Flux Dev did that, and it looks cool, like it looks proper, but it's just too detailed for this style of art. So you want to, and this is where you need to have an eye for art. When if you're going to be using, even if you're going to be using AI professionally, you still have to know all the stuff that you learned to be a good artist. And you still have to utilize all that. Oh, that's actually, I thought that was on my screen. So it's just giving a random freckles, it looks like, which I think is fine. Like if you're going to have a mole and a freckle, maybe two of them together, maybe even three. No, I think two looks good there. Two is one of the few even numbers that things look good at. Again, all the AI is going to fix all that face for me. I'm not even worried about it. And I could like take that as a base and paint that out, but like why spend all that time? It's just not. And I can also have AI change that to a word that I want it to be. But because it's already a word now, either I have to paint this out and start painting the basic idea of a word I want, or I have to think of something I want that to say. I don't know, maybe Betty something. I don't even know what that should say. I don't know if I push it hard enough with enough not resolution, but I push it hard enough with the weights, I might be able to get it to say something totally different using flux. So maybe I can make it say something like, it has to be two words though, most likely, otherwise it's probably not going to work. Anyway, this was a belt tutorial, which turned into a whole how to do a bunch of other stuff tutorial. I wonder if I should break this up into two tutorials, maybe. Anyway, so that's all. If you want to watch, how my tutorials on how to draw basically pornography, then you can go to go to my DeviantArt account and just subscribe for $2 a month. And I add new videos based on request, and I already have a bunch on there. So, and a bunch of cool images. So check it out.